AI isn't perfect. And that's what I think a lot of business owners they get wrong.
All right. The question is, how do you measure your click-through rate and also maybe your audience retention in terms of the effectiveness of your copy?
Okay, so almost every single software can tell you your open rates. No matter if it's go high level, it's mail light, it's constant contact, it's MailChimp.
So by the time you get all this data in your hands, what happened? What do you do with it? Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us in today's episode of the Obehi Podcast. I remain Obehi Ewanfo, your host here. Of course, you already understand how much we appreciate the power of storytelling here, because we believe that storytelling is the singular most important thing that can differentiate you from the basic crowd out there, from the soup that is on the internet with over 5 billion people there. Many people just try to replicate whatever that person is doing. But nobody's actually like you, which is what separates you, because by the time you are able to hone your story and master it, then you are able to stand out anytime, any day, because there are no two people exactly the same in this world. So we love to share our story. So today, I have the honor of having a guest with me who is going to be talking about what she does and also about her. So Sarah, thank you so much for being with me today. Could you tell the
It's an
people
honor to
who,
be here. Thank you for having me.
thank you so much. Could you tell the people who you are?
Yeah, simply, I'm just a copywriter and marketing consultant based out of New Jersey right now, but I'm originally from the Jersey Shore. I lived in Florida for the last 4 years. I recently just returned home. What I simply do is I write content for people and I give marketing strategies based off current market strategy and current market data.
All right, that's interesting, Sarah. So you are into content writing, right? Okay. Tell me a bit about yourself. How did you get into content writing?
Yeah, simply, I joined Andrew Tate's The Real World. So inside The Real World, made by Andrew Tate, you can join a plethora of campuses. I specifically chose the copywriting campus as something to study. I do have my college degree, but I chose to do something else that was a high-paying skill uh, to make a business out of it. So I chose copywriting. I wanted to um, I was thinking about the future and I wanted to become a parent. I just didn't think corporate was the option that was going to be suitable for that in the future. And simply, I just wanted something that I could do from home and build a stable business out of from a laptop. I didn't want to be bound to a desk working for someone else.
I love that. I love that. Independence. That is very
Yeah,
important.
I'm hyper independent, hyper independent.
All right, that is good. In our life, we should be independent, All right. But how do you really start? Okay, I'm talking in general terms now. You want to start as a copywriter. Are there some prerequisites? Are there some things that you need to do for you to, okay, maybe any person can write, but not every person can actually be a good writer. Because if you are paid for your job now, it means you're a good writer. So how do you move from just writing to becoming a good content writer or something like that?
So I mean, obviously, like with anything, right? You have to study, you know, you have to study specific things, right? Like you have to study how human psychology works. You have to understand why copywriting is important, how old it's been around, which it's been around for well over 200 years. But the art of copywriting has changed, right? So you have to understand the history of how it's changed and how human psychology works, especially now with social media. So if anybody's looking to get into copywriting now, understand how AI is useful for you, and then on top of it, understand its history as well. That's why I would say to become a really good content writer.
All right. And you were saying that it has changed the way it used to be, correct?
For sure.
All right. Um, what has really changed that much in copywriting? Because, like you said, it's something that will be around for a very long time. Because we'll be communicating through content, through writing. But like you said, it has changed now. And you also said that it's a new guy in the room, AI. So it basically changes everything. So tell us about that changes for people that are probably new here.
I probably am gonna be very honest here. I don't think it's probably changed that much since the art. It's since it's inception of the art. I don't think it's been that drastically different. But what I will say is the art of it is now different because you can spit out more copy for a client because of AI. AI isn't perfect, and that's what I think a lot of business owners they get wrong. They'll copy and paste content from Perplexity, Gemini, ChatGPT, and they'll just put it on there and they're gonna think that it's gonna work for them. That's normally not the case. You still need a copywriter to edit it. I do think in the future that it will be, I think it will be extremely more advanced. What is 1 year for human beings is probably about a month, maybe 2 weeks for AI. So if you're not trying to stay ahead of the curve, then this is seriously for anyone considering this. If you're not trying to stay ahead of the curve, um, you need to. But then on the side for working for clients too, I would say you still need someone to edit this because I can almost guarantee you it's not going to come out perfect unless you have someone edit this. Like I know my business coach who coaches me, she uses me to edit a lot of her sales pages because she knows that it's not going to come out perfect unless I make sure I look at it and I edit it and then I send it back to her. Like she called me already this morning. She was like, "Hey, I have a couple sales pages ready to go." She's launching a brand new program. She's like, "I just need you to take a look at this and ship it off back to me when you think it's good to go." And I was like, "Okay." It makes my job a lot simpler because what copywriters are now, they're not writing content. They're professional editors. That's what copywriters are right now.
All right. So that is a change in it, right? That before, one could actually look at how it used to be, that you could, of course, our ancestors used to write on the wall. They basically painted in the cave. That is how we understand what writing even means because we didn't invent anything. We basically copy what we see that was already working and it was working well, which is documenting what we have in our head, putting it on paper. Okay, there was no paper at the time, so they were putting it on the wall. At the time, when there was paper, you need to basically take the feather, put it on dip it in the ink and begin to draw, no? That is, you are writing.
Yeah.
That is the writing. But then you have a computer. Now you begin to, then at a point, now you can just prompt into the computer. Now it's bringing that information. Like you say, you are
Even
correct.
even back then
Yeah.
you had a typewriter. Even back then you have a typewriter. Long before there was the modern computer, you had a typewriter. So
Anyway, but there
that
was a
made it
time that
a
was
lot
no
simpler too.
there was a time that was no typewriter, but I'm saying, okay, in the evolution of things, it began to move a little bit faster so that where we are today, now, like you correctly said, we have the possibility of being able to get the AI to even write the content for us, but we still need to be the one that is going to be editing it so that we are moving to the space of doing more of the editing as against just putting the word there, A, B, C, and things like that. So I think that really make a lot of sense for somebody that is listening to us. So I think we might spend a good time on AI since we use AI a lot, but let's come to that a little bit later. Let's talk about what are actually the basis of a good copywriting.
Oh, that's a loaded question. I would say number one, I see a lot of copywriters do this. They write an assignment just to write an assignment. If you don't have the passion behind writing content, you'll never make it. Sorry, that sounds very brutal, but it's the truth. You've got to love making people feel heard. And that's what I do. Like a lot of people, when they ask me what I do for a living, I barely say that I'm a copywriter anymore. I just say I make people feel heard. And that's what it is. If your company is the best, in which you're not the only one out there, you're going to have to do something bold and loud to get noticed in the marketplace. And that's the thing, right? So that's what I would say. That's number one. Number two, I would say the second best thing that you can do to become a very great content writer, copywriter out there is understand human psychology, understand what grabs people's attention, and you can do this in a multitude different of ways. You can do it through studying social media. You could do it through looking towards some of the best in previous most successful marketing campaigns. There's a multitude of ways of you can become the best. I would say for anyone trying to get started, definitely just study for like the first 2, 3, 4 months of what great copy looks like and try to mimic it. And once you understand why it works so well, and you can use AI now and try to study the framework. If you understand why it's so successful, that's how you become successful. That's what I did.
In fact, I wanted to ask you that, like, Sarah, what did you do? How did you become better in your writing? So, could
Yeah,
you
I
tell
studied
us
a lot
there?
of frameworks. Yeah, so I sat there, you know, 12, 14 hours a day, and I studied some of the greatest, you know, campaigns that have been launched. And I asked myself, like, why does this work? What do I feel reading this? Right. So that's how I noticed that I'm like, okay, well, there's a difference between someone writing content and someone actually compelling somebody to buy something. So that's what I did personally.
So, you write to get people to take action, especially in this case, now you are making
Yeah,
mention of,
so I only write
yeah,
sales copy.
okay. So, tell me, what does psychology got to do with that? Explain that part to me.
Ooh, yeah, so psychology is a big thing in copywriting. If you don't understand consumer buying behavior, you'll never get anybody through words to buy a product and or service. Um, Psychology plays a part into from the hook all the way to the call to action. So, understanding how to bring storytelling into it, how to bring, the framework into it, that's all very important in this world.
All right. So, in the beginning, I was making mention of storytelling. So, I don't know if you could say anything about that, how that might be relevant to the work that you do. How much does storytelling, how much role does storytelling
It's I
plays
would
there?
say it's about 90% of the job. Understanding storytelling. It's about 90% of the job. If you cannot make someone feel something, you will never be successful as a copywriter. Period. I'm telling you right now. Because if you've ever looked at the most successful email marketing campaigns, they normally start with a client testimonial. There's a reason for it though, because they're already psychologically triggering you that someone has already had success. Okay. And it might include either one or maybe a few of them in an email marketing campaign. Same thing in a funnel. If you go through some of the most famous sales funnels right now, they start with a video and there's the hero section, and then they drag you down and they tell you what the program's about, and then they have the testimonials, and then they have the frequent ask questions, right? That's only the layout of a sales page now. So they do it it's always a pattern. It's always a pattern now. And if you don't know what you're looking for, feel free to send me a message. Um, but that's exactly how psychology plays in. The trust, know, and like factor is very big through storytelling.
All right. If we're talking about storytelling, what about raw data? Say maybe, for example, those famous 20%, 30% statistics and all of that. How do you play with them if you are using storytelling in your copywriting?
And this is a golden nugget for everyone. I hope everyone's going to take notes from this. Um, Normally the best statistics, like if you're using a statistics in your copy, this is how you get it to translate. So normally I would open up with the statistic. So like if we're, for example, talking about driving, 80% of drivers in America, blah 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 blah. They do this because they feel this. And then that brings them down in the storytelling factor, right? So I would do it like that. I have made email marketing campaigns with statistics in it. I don't do it often because I also don't feel like that's what gets people to click on the CTA. But I mean, I know it's very effective. I know a lot of people do it all the time, and they have some decent, click through rates. They have some decent, open rates on their email campaigns, and or, you have people DMing them. I know that one of my highest ranked and a highest impression post on LinkedIn was because of the fact that I proved a testimonial from a previous client of mine. So I'm not saying that it's not the best way. I would do it only in the case if you're trying to legitimately prove a point so that it's effective and it works. And I wouldn't do it on it. God, please don't do this. Don't do it on a brand new campaign. Do it on a campaign that you have nurtured this individual for 3 to 4 times. That's when I would throw in the statistic. Other than that, it's going to seem like you know it all,
In
and that's not
essence,
what you want.
all right. In essence, what is the role of statistics in your copywriting? What function? What is it doing there?
It's to establish it's to establish credibility.
All right. Now you were talking also about the click-through rate and also the retention. I believe that is also part of what you are talking about now, being able to get the audience to take action in your copywriting. So tell me, how do you measure that? How do you know that all this is coming together where in your copywriting, or whether in your copywriting and also in your email marketing? Because I believe both of them are connected here.
I'm not sure if I understand the context of the question.
All right. The question is, how do you measure your click-through rate and also maybe your audience retention in terms of the effectiveness of your copy?
Okay, so almost every single software can tell you your open rates, no matter if it's go high level, it's MailerLite, it's Constant Contact, it's MailChimp, and or if you're launching a now newsletter on LinkedIn for the second or third time, you will definitely see how many emails have been sent out with a notification that you've launched a new newsletter. I have one coming out tomorrow. Um, that will tell you the immediate open rate and who's what's the average time of reading it, how many profile views you're getting, how many comments, how many reactions. That's an indication of the success of what it is that you're writing. So whether that would be, newsletter, content, um, email, funnel, and I wouldn't put a funnel out there unless you're like launching an ad per se. You could do it as like your actual main site if that's what you want to do. Go right ahead. A lot of sales pages have a ad tied to them, so they use it as a back end link for an ad. So if you see an ad, I don't know, on Meta, they'll write out the ad, and then you'll click the learn more. There's normally a hyperlink on the back end of the ad, and that loads the VSL. Um, that's what I would say. That's every time you get a click, every time you get an open, there's always some measurable way that you can track the success of your campaigns for sure.
All right. Okay, now you gather this data now, like you say, you make mention of different tools that you can use to be able to see the data, how many people are clicking, how many people are taking action, maybe moving from this click to the next click, and eventually, because now you have a funnel, you are getting the people you are sort of leading them somewhere. Usually at the end of the day, you want them maybe to buy something from you if you are in a business. So by the time you get all this data in your hands, what happened? What do you do with it?
A lot of people just store it just to have it. And this is something that everybody could take. If you are launching an email campaign for the first time and they have not clicked CTA to, like, I don't know, view your funnel for a masterclass, whatever the case may be, the analytics are always good because now you know exactly who to nurture based off the first time. 9 times out of 10, the first go around is not going to be successful when it comes to getting somebody to click a CTA, especially if you're doing it cold, period. Okay. So, what I would suggest everyone to do in that instance is that you use, and by the way, software will tell you exactly who's clicking, okay, who clicks it open and who clicks on a CTA. So, if you find it and when you do, that's who you nurture. You don't nurture everyone based off the list again. That's pointless. You only want the people that have shown express interest to nurture them again.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Now let's talk a little bit about the AI. You were mentioning that you are using it on your content. Of course, everybody these
Mm-hmm.
days should learn how to use AI because there are many ways AI can be very helpful in our business. Of course, everybody should know how to use AI. I want to repeat
Mm-hmm.
that again. So tell me, how do you use AI in your content writing?
I made my own custom GBT that I sell and license to clients, and I use it for my own private consulting clients for myself. It's made my job 15 times easier. It is designed by me, so normally I would say 9 times out of 10 it normally comes out correct. It just helps me expedite work faster. And the faster you can work, the faster you can take more clients because now there's no slowing down. Like, for example, I used to spend about like I mean, if I was writing content for like posts for a client, it usually probably took me right around 3 hours to write like 15 posts out by hand. This pushes it out in 5 minutes. So the more you can expedite the work, the more that you can take more clients and make more money, right? So I'm a person of efficiency. I don't how do I say this? I don't like being slow when it comes to expediting work at all. So I had to figure out a way that wasn't going to slow me down anymore because for about 18 months of the start of my business, I was writing a lot of it by hand. I barely knew how to use AI. So once I figured out that you can make your own custom GPT within ChatGPT, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to build out my own. And I'm going to put specific tools, resources, markdown files inside my GPT, and then it'll be able to spit out copy for me. And it does. So I think that's how I use it. Other than that, um, I mean, if I don't understand the context of something, if it's personal and or business, then normally I just run to ChatGPT and I ask it. But other than that, that's how I'm using it.
And how do you know that the content that the ChatGPT is bringing out to you or spilling out for you is correct? How do you verify that?
Because I edit it.
Tell me about the process of editing it.
Um, it's different for every client. So it's different on client who they're selling to, which we have a in-depth consultation about who their ICP is, how much money their clients are making to it. And by the way, this actually has to do with writing content, because if you don't understand who your ICP is, how much money they make, where they live, and blah 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 blah, all those things, and those are the very finite details. If you don't understand that, you'll never be able to sell it to them. 2 words, period. Okay, so and then on top of it, understanding who they are. Do you have their brand voice right? Do you have their motivation and their motives right? If you're hitting the mark, then, those all those are all very big things, even though they don't seem like they are. They are very important when you're building out marketing campaigns for companies and CEOs.
All right. They also said that you license this GTP for other people to use, correct?
Hmm.
How
Yeah.
does that usually work? When people then have it, say maybe for example, you have a custom GPT that you are offering today for maybe research, let's say so, because okay, I have a podcast, so I need a custom GPT to help me maybe refine the topic that I want to interview somebody about. Then I buy it from you. How do I use it? Do you also teach me how to use it, or do I just go
Yeah, so
ahead
what
and
I do, and I started including this into using it, is because normally I'll just take an invoice and it'll be on a recurring structure to use it per month, because then I'll build out, the copy for your emails, your sales pages, all that stuff, right? It's always on a recurring structure. Then I started noticing that people don't necessarily know how to use it right, because you have to program the GBT. So then I started including, okay, listen, you're going to get in about a 90-minute consultation with me, and we're going to actually program the GBT towards your brand voice, your ICP, what it is that you're launching, right? That way it knows you, and then it knows what you want. It knows exactly how to write. That sounds like something that you would say. And then on top of it, I can always help you in approving it. You know what I mean? There's different models to this, though. I use my GBT to either push out work for people, and or I help you. I sit you down more in depth, which is a different offer. I consult, I write your content, and I write your copy. That's a completely different offer. But specifically pertaining to the copy membership for the GBT, I would program it the way that you want it to, and then I would actually give it to you and be like, okay, it's completely perfect now. It knows exactly who you are, who you sell to, all the things, the psycho socio demographics and stuff like that. Then you can just use it the way it's intended to. Ask it questions. You can do a lot of sales role playing with it. It's got quite a few books. I know there's one in there that I put in there from Alex Hormozy. Um, there's a lot of different things that you can do with my GPT, not just, content. It does current market research for you as well. So if you're not entirely sure how to enter a market, it'll tell you how to. It'll give you all the real, all the stats in real time based off based off it's pulling from Google and stuff like that. So
All right. And what do you really love about this entire process? I understand what you were saying before that you like independence at the beginning of the conversation. So I'm taking that in context. What do you like most in the entire process of this your content writing, content marketing?
oh, easy. I don't have to listen to anybody else other than myself.
All
I'm
right.
the CEO of my own business. I don't have to listen to anyone. And I want to address something this before I probably make someone very angry at 8:30 in the morning on a Monday. Most leaders have issues with self-development. So I got to a point where I was working for people that and I'm 26 by the way. So I got to a point where I was like, I'm not going to listen to people that are not going to work on their self-development and leadership skills. Period. I'm tired of this. We have a lot of people in leadership that are not qualified to be there. That's very obvious. So I didn't like working for people anymore. I was like, if you're not willing to work on yourself and develop those really, valuable and very strong leadership skills, why am I working for you? Because all you're doing is projecting your nonsense onto me. And that's why I was like, I can't do this anymore. I gotta work for myself. Also, at the same time, I, I hate rules. I like making them as I go. I will be very open. I will say that I have a problem with authority. I like being the one in charge. It's just better that way. So uh, that's why entrepreneurship just fitted me a lot more. And I enjoy my job though. I really, really do. I wake up, right around like 8 o'clock in the morning, normally on Monday through Friday. Normally my first call is by 9 a.m. Um, I enjoy my life, man. I really do. I've been the CEO of my own business since for almost 2 years. Actually, next one will be 2 years. So I enjoy my life.
All right.
I don't answer to anyone.
That's okay. That is fair enough. So there is nothing to add there. So Sarah, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you. And I wish you all the success in your endeavor, in your copywriting and your business.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right. Have a wonderful time, eh?
You too.
Bye.